Hello again. Before we go on, there's just time to mention that our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Fernand Bouillon and Harry Breur. It's performed by Jean-Jacques Perret, who's kindly given his permission for us to use it. And now here's Elizabeth with a little bit of football.
Right, football. Enfield Town have managed to secure a high-profile pre-season friendly against Premier League outfit Crystal Palace. Well, that's quite good. The Crystal Palace team is likely to be made up largely of scholars and under-21 players, but could also feature some first-team squad members. The match, which is set to take place at the Queen Elizabeth Stadium on July the 28th at 7:45, is the sixth pre-season fixture which Town have arranged, with the opening game seeing them entertain AFC Rushden and Diamonds on July the 18th, that's at 3 o'clock. Enfield Town have announced that they will be holding a meeting for Supporters Society members in Butler's Bar at the Queen Elizabeth Stadium on July the 23rd. The event, which starts at 7:30, will update members with Town's plans for the coming season. Meanwhile, Town have been drawn at home to either Carlshorton Athletic or Leighton Town in the first qualifying round of the FA Trophy. The match is due to be played on October the 31st. Excuse me. The draw has also been made for the early stages of both the FA Cup and the FA Vase. The extra preliminary round of the FA Cup sees Enfield, 1893, hosting London Coney and Cockfosters entertaining Burnham Ramblers. Victory for the E's would see them playing at home to Potters Bar Town in the preliminary round, while a home tie against Wivenhoe Town or Tower Hamlets is at stake for Cockfosters. Both teams enter the FA Vase in the first qualifying round, with Cockfosters hosting Greenhouse Sports and Enfield visiting Debenham. Brimsdown, who are taking part in the Vase for the first time in their history, have received a bye through the second qualifying round, where they will host Brantham Athletic or Sawbridgeworth Town.
Athletics now. Chichindu Uja can look forward to competing in next month's World Athletics Championships in Beijing after securing the British 100 metres title in Birmingham on Sunday. The sprinter from Enfield and Haringey Athletic Club hit the headlines last year by breaking the 10-second barrier, but had struggled to find his best form on the big occasions since then, coming third in the British Championships last year to miss out on a place in the European Championships, and then false starting to be disqualified from the final of the 60 metres at the European Indoor Championships in Prague earlier this year. However, Uja lived up to his billing as pre-event favourite by producing a dominant display in the final to romp to victory in 10.10 seconds. Bonnie Buembo also enjoyed a weekend to remember in Birmingham as he was crowned British Javelin Champion at 70.34 metres, while the women's 200 metres proved to be a particularly successful event for the club as Margaret Adeoye triumphed at 23.51 seconds and Bianca Williams came second at 23.56 seconds. Williams was also runner-up in the 100 metres at 11.43 seconds, with Desiree Henry following her across the line in third, 11.45 seconds, while Callum Wilkinson came second in the men's 5,000 metre walk, a personal best at 20 minutes, 21.57 seconds, and Chris Candu was equal second in the men's high jump at 2 metres, 20.
And this is about the London Youth Games, where Enfield successfully defended their aquathon title when hundreds of youngsters from across the borough competed in the finals of the Balfour Beatty London Youth Games over the weekend. The borough came in 14th place overall in Europe's largest annual youth sports event held at the Crystal Palace National Sports Centre, with the aquathlon success providing Enfield with one of their real highlights. Of the two gold medalists, Jake Callis who is a triathlete, was a standout in terms of quality, and Sam Pierre, a Year 9 lad, absolutely buried himself to push through the pain barrier. There were further team medals for Enfield in the mini swimming, where they won gold, and girls athletics, where they claimed bronze.
Lasith Lakshan enjoyed a day to remember at Southgate, as Southgate upset the odds to claim a stunning 32-run win at home to league leaders Ealing on Saturday, as you've gathered in the form book, by securing a victory which saw them climb off the bottom and also led to Ealing being knocked off the top by Richmond. It was Lakshan who was the star performer for the hosts, as he top-scored with 60 when Southgate posted a total of 226 batting first, and then took 4 wickets to help dismiss Ealing for 194. Southgate host Twickenham on Saturday. Mark Barrell scored a superb century to help Winchmore Hill romp to a 6-wicket victory at MTSSC in Division 3 of the Middlesex County Cricket League on Saturday. The visitors found themselves facing a tough run chase after MTSSC posted a total of 225 on a difficult wicket, but Barrell's stunning 115, coupled with 61 not out from skipper de la Ray Terblanche, ensured they encountered few difficulties in securing victory as they eased to 226 for 4. Winchmore Hill go to Barnes on Saturday. Craig Williams struck a century as Enfield secured a winning draw from their home clash against Hornsey in Division 2 of the Middlesex County Cricket League on Saturday. Enfield got off to a bad start after being put into bat, but Williams led a spirited fight back which saw them reach an impressive 251 for 6 before declaring. The visitors then slumped to a 75 for 5 in reply, but Enfield were unable to strike again as the clash ultimately petered out into a tame draw. Enfield visit Acton on Saturday. And Botany Bay returned to winning ways on Saturday as they beat Hoddesdon by 24 runs to reclaim top spot in the Saracens Hertfordshire County Cricket League Championship. Visiting Bay had suffered their first league defeat of the season in their previous outing, but they produced a solid display with the bat on this occasion to post a total of 209. Botany Bay, who are just 1 point above Totteridge Millhillians at the top of the table, visit Chorleywood on Saturday. Meanwhile, a stunning innings from Adnan Chowdhury played a key role in Holtwhite's Trinibys scoring an 86-run win at home to Northchurch in Division 2A. Holtwhite's Trinibys go to Northwood on Saturday, and Southgate Adelaide claimed the local bragging rights on Saturday as they secured a narrow 14-run win at home to Cheshunt in Division 4A. Southgate Adelaide go to Waltham Cross Rosedale on Saturday, while Cheshunt visit Berkhamsted.
Well, I'm glad I didn't have to do cricket. I'm doing boxing. Boxer Nick Parper enjoyed a dream start to his professional career as he secured a first-round stoppage against Hungary's Jezreli Biro at York Hall in Bethnal Green on Saturday. The 23-year-old cruiserweight from Palmer's Green was taking to the ring for the first time since overcoming a career-threatening shoulder injury, but he showed few signs of rustiness as he completely outclassed his opponent. Parper took control from the start, and the referee stepped in to stop the fight after he sent Biro tumbling to the canvas for the third time inside the opening 3 minutes, and I think that was a very good decision.
School children are engaged in some footballer spotting while enjoying Premier League facilities at the Tottenham Hotspur training ground. Hundreds of pupils from across Enfield got a taste of life as a professional footballer playing mini-tournaments at the Enfield Training Centre in Hotspur Way in Enfield. Teams of Year 5 and 6 boys representing 22 primary schools in Enfield attended the training ground to show off their skills in the blazing sunshine in an event organised by the Tottenham Hotspur Foundation last weekend. Children from Merry Hills Primary School in World's End Lane, Enfield, were among the pupils enjoying the exclusive facilities. Head teacher Michelle Motley said, "The place is amazing and it's a fabulous experience for the children. The look on their faces as we drove into the training ground was priceless. They all really appreciate it. even the Arsenal supporters amongst them. Opportunities like this are great for promoting active, healthy lifestyles and encouraging the kids into sport. It's great that Spurs and the council have arranged it.
A woman left broken by her visual impairment is inspiring others not to give up. Shardine Rose, 54, is working on a social media service called Action Connect to help with those suffering from visual impairments to share their stories and techniques for dealing with the specific problems. In her current job with Action for Blind People, Ms. Rose talks to people suffering from sight loss, telling her own story. When working as a legal secretary at her local authority in Edmonton in 1990, Ms. Rose was diagnosed with iritis, an inflammation in the iris on her left eye. In 2013, she discovered that a condition causing red and swollen tissue in the body was the main cause of her sight loss. After attending many appointments to treat her condition, Ms. Rose was unable to do her job. She said, "I was broken and I was threatened with losing my home." The King's House Church in Edmonton helped her by sending food vouchers, and Ms. Rose rebuilt her confidence by volunteering to help them and the police in Enderby, Leicestershire, listening to victims. In 2005, she found Action for Blind People through the National Institution for the Blind and took an employment course. She said, "I received regular bulletins from the charity via Action Connect, telling me how I could get involved in shaping its services and asking for my opinions on new developments. Ms. Rose is now helping people in Enfield Vision and hopes to do more volunteer work in victim support."
Budding scientists had a chance to see their favourite subject in action last week. With workshops, demonstrations and large-scale experiments taking place in schools across the borough, pupils were able to take time out from revising for end-of-year exams to enjoy the sight of miniature rockets being fired across sports halls and to see light years represented by sheets of toilet paper. Children from St Edmund's Primary School in Harford Road, Edmonton, were joined by their counterparts from Latimer All Saints Primary School in Hydethorpe Avenue, Edmonton, to experience TV presenters Mark Brake and John Chase from iScience prove to the pupils that outer space is not as scary as films make out. TV presenter John, who fronted CBBC science programme Space Hoppers and penned raps for NASA, countered Mark's pessimistic outlook with a passionate plea for the youngsters to share his love of space. Demonstrating the energy needed to fire rockets into space, eager volunteers stamped on an air propulsion device which fired foam creations the length of the St Edmund's School Hall. And adding to the frenzied excitement of the school children, John wowed them with an experiment showing how they could create gravity themselves through centrifuge momentum, when one particularly brave volunteer kept water in a cup while spinning his arm as fast as he could. Speaking to the Advertiser after the hordes of excitable children had filed out of the hall, Mark, who was science consultant for the Space Hoppers series, said, "As long as you make things fun, then children absorb even complex scientific ideas." Also getting into the spirit of discovery were pupils from Furze Farm Primary School in Rayleigh Road, Palmer's Green, who investigated mystery acids, polymer materials and gases under the guidance of scientists from Bristol University. Meanwhile, at Westgrove Primary School in Chase Road, Southgate, Year 6 children made their own balloon-powered buggies as Martin Wesley from Sphere Science taught them about forces. This takes me back to my own primary school days when we had an experience with mystery gases, but we usually blame Tony James for that.
He'll sue you. Campaigners battling against developers who want to shoehorn a branch of an upmarket supermarket chain into an historic pub have hit out at claims that a silent majority of people support the scheme. Since the Green Dragon at the corner of Green Lanes and Vickersmore Lane in Winchmore Hill closed in January, residents have launched a concerted campaign to preserve the building as a pub. They are days away from hearing whether their application or to nominate the building as an asset of community has been successful. Green Lanes Investments bought the property earlier this year and have now gone public with their plans to transform the site into a Waitrose supermarket branch. 2 weeks ago, the Advertiser reported that a company working on behalf of Green Lanes Investments had sent out surveys to 1,500 people and businesses living within a quarter of a mile of the Green Dragon. A spokesman for the development company said, "A silent majority of residents clearly want a good shop and new family homes. What's more, local firms appreciate they will benefit from extra footfall and increased trade." He cited the fact that when 1,500 residents were surveyed, 73% of people backed plans for a supermarket. The spokesman said that the exact figures for the number of people who had responded to the survey were still being verified, adding that there had been a response of approximately 15% among residents who had been sent the survey. That would mean about 225 people had responded to the survey, and going by the statistics provided by the company who carried it out on behalf of Green Lanes Investments, that would mean that 164 people of those surveyed were in favour of the plans, with just 61 residents opposed. However, campaigner Mike McLean says he was copied into more than 100 responses to the survey from residents who were unanimous in their condemnation of the plans. Speaking to the Advertiser, Mr. McLean said, "So they surveyed 1,500 people, got a response rate of 15% and called that a silent majority, even though 4,500 people signed a petition to keep it as a pub." So it'll be interesting to see the outcome of this, won't it?
The new MP for Edmonton has made a splash in her first months in the Commons after being selected to sit on a powerful group of parliamentarians set to scrutinise every aspect of education in this country. Kate Osamore, who was elected by a landslide majority of 25,388 votes in May's general election, has been chosen as a member of the Select Committee, which investigates government policy on all areas of education. The MP, who spoke before the election of her determination to stand up for her constituents, said, "For people like myself who come from working class backgrounds, it can change things. Education can improve people's lives. It can make things fairer by giving people opportunities. I've seen it firsthand how important it is. I was a governor for a school in Tottenham. I was then chairwoman of governors. We went through quite a difficult time when it was nearly made into an academy, but we got through that and managed to stop that process." One of the major concerns that Ms Osamore is keen for the community to address is the government's new education and adoption bill, which it is said will target coasting schools. The MP admits she is very concerned about the bill, as she says, without a proper definition of what a coasting school is, it will be impossible to objectively tell whether a school is really in trouble or whether it's being targeted by the government, who have their own ideological agenda. The pressure children are put under in primary schools as a result of testing is another area Ms Osamore is hoping the committee will turn its attention to. Not every child will ever become a teacher or a doctor, but they still have important skills and abilities that should be recognised and nurtured at school, she said. She is relishing the opportunity of grilling experts, teachers, politicians and officials who will be called in front of the committee in the coming years. She added, "The Select Committee are made up of MPs from both sides of the House, so by their nature they are non-partisan, meaning we can get to the truth and cannot be accused of playing party politics with education. We will have all the facts, not just political arguments."
The inquest into the death of Hannah Defoe, the cousin of footballer Jermaine Defoe, is set to begin today. The 20-year-old Enfield woman died after diving into a pool at Juliet's Lodge Hotel in St. Lucia in July 2012. Reports at the time said her aunt and cousin suffered electric shocks as they tried to save her. The performing arts student was on holiday as a reward for her hard work during the first year at the Performers College in Essex, when she died, 3 weeks before her 21st birthday. The inquest has been adjourned 4 times, most recently in March this year, but will now be heard at North London Coroner's Court in Barnet. Former Tottenham Hotspur striker Defoe was on the club's pre-season tour of America when he was told of his cousin's death, and he returned immediately to the United Kingdom to be with his family.
A minute's silence has been held and ceremonies have taken place across the capital to mark the 10th anniversary of the July the 7th bombings. At the time of the attacks in 2005, this paper paid tribute to the first victim to be identified, Susan Levy, 53, who had been travelling from her home in Newgate Street village near Cuffley to her job as a legal secretary in the city via Finsbury Park. She was travelling south on the Piccadilly tube line when Jermaine Lindsay detonated his suicide bomb as the train moved from King's Cross towards Russell Square. Jamie Gordon, 30, from Enfield, was killed when Hasib Hussain detonated his bomb on the top deck of the number 30 bus in Tavistock Square. He worked in finance in an office in Old Street and usually travelled to work by train. However, his routine commute from Enfield was different that day, as he'd stayed overnight at a friend's house the night before. A minute's silence was held at 11:30 a.m. Yesterday to mark the 10th anniversary since the deadly attacks, and survivors and relatives of those killed and injured were among those to mark the anniversary in a ceremony in St. Paul's Cathedral.
A dance teacher is hoping that a little salsa can help save a little landmark. Sarika Fernando says the Tin Tabernacle in Herbert Road, next to Bowes Park Station, is an amazing place that deserves to be preserved for the community. The building, officially called Shaftesbury Hall, is owned by the North London Samaritans, but has fallen into disrepair and needs £200,000 worth of work to be reopened. Ms. Fernando hopes her summer charity party on Saturday can contribute to the cause. She said the Samaritans want to make this building their base and use it as a community space, but they need a huge amount of funding. This Saturday will be a great opportunity to get together, have fun, and raise money for this amazing little place. The Tin Tabernacle, a Victorian church for railway workers made out of corrugated iron, is now derelict and covered in overgrowth. But despite the building's decrepit state, residents in the area have campaigned for it to be preserved and restored for use by the Samaritans. Ms. Fernando runs dance classes called Salsa with Sarika from The Hub in Middleton Road. To join in Saturday night's fundraiser in central London, including a big prize draw, call her on 07984 136 961, or to donate, visit www.justgiving.com/Sarika-Fernando2.
First dates, screaming rows, drunken nights of debauchery and fateful meetings are par for the course in many pubs. And now an arts organisation is hoping to collect together people's significant memories of one particular historic boozer on Enfield's borough boundary with Haringey. The Ranelagh in Bounds Green Road has witnessed the drama of wine-soaked Friday nights, boozy weekends and leisurely Sunday lunches since 1862, and 3 passionate historians want to preserve a record of people's memories of the pub forever. Miriam Sherwood, a theatre and arts producer, founding member of Travelling Tent, an oral history and arts organisation, and a native of Bounds Green, has issued a call to anyone who remembers their own personal standout moments from the pub over the years. The memories will be preserved for posterity in an archive in the Bruce Castle Museum in Lordship Lane, Tottenham, and will also contribute to a sharing event planned to take place in the pub itself in October. Speaking to the Advertiser, Miriam said, "We believe that everyone has a story worth hearing, and we want to encourage people to share their stories. The team have focused their attention on this particular hostelry because there has been a Ranelagh pub on that site since 1862. We want to allow people to feel connected to their history, and we want to celebrate it at a time when pubs, which are some of our most historic buildings, are closing down every day," said Miriam. Explaining why the pub means so much as a site of local history, Miriam added, "It was here long before there was even a community here. It has played a central role in the development of the area, and we want to look into that and research it." Anyone wishing to take part in the Oral History Project can get in touch with Miriam on 07793 502 566.
A grocer has been fined £900 for selling rotten produce after ignoring countless warnings from the Fruit and Vegetable Police. On no fewer than 16 occasions between August 2012 and November 2014, Sadin Kalik was visited at his shop in 4 Street, Edmonton, by the Horticultural Marketing Inspectorate. At Tottenham Magistrates Court last week, Killock, the owner of the Bin Dyer Limited, pleaded guilty to 8 charges of selling rotten fruit and vegetables and was fined £900 with £500 costs. Rural Payments Agency Operations Director, Paul Caldwell said, "In this case, the prosecution followed a series of risk-based inspection visits to the shop over nearly 2.5 years, and during this time, Mr. Kilak consistently failed to meet the statutory responsibility and failed to ensure that the quality and labelling of the fresh produce on offer for the sale met the required minimum standards permitted."
The Post always got through with Richard Stanford even when it was wrongly addressed. The people of Upper Edmonton have paid tribute to the long-serving postie who delivered in the area for almost 4 decades as a wonderful person. Mr. Stanford of Pickett's Lock Lanes had taken voluntary redundancy after 37 years, and members of the residents of Enfield Angel Community Together, REACT, presented him with farewell messages. Grace Kamal, member of REACT, said he could be relied upon to turn up with our letters and parcels in all kinds of weather. He's valued by the whole community, ready for a quick chat, and with a wonderful smile. And with that wonderful smile, we reach the end of our programme for this week. Don't forget, your reader's representative, Diane de Jersey, is on 020-8805-6578 if you need any help with the talking newspaper. And please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the cassette into the packet and return it to us as soon as possible so we can send out the next edition. And that will be with you in 1 week's time. Thanks for being with us. From me, Malcolm, Elizabeth, Katherin, Audrey and Ian, goodbye.
Bye. Bye.